All right. So we're on page 602, a section called Manifestation as Devi. We're talking about God as Mother through the life of Sri Sarada Devi, considered by many to be an incarnation of God as Mother. And we've really seen, and kind of what this book has sort of changed the way I think about this divine feminine. Of course, we're only studying Holy Mother at this point, but we've studied others. Oops, I have to get a cord real quick, just a moment. All right. My power gave me a notice. It's low. All right. This that with Holy Mother, that her teaching doesn't come so much through words. She doesn't sit down and give talks or lectures, but we've learned so much from the way that she lived. We've learned so much from the way that she existed in the world, her constant scanning of everyone that she knew and who they knew to make sure that everybody was doing all right, was doing well, that she had been, was always looking for ways to help, whether it was sending medicine to somebody or money to somebody or, checking up after somebody or inviting someone to come and stay with her or be nursed by her. All of these different ways that she was always getting things to give and nurture to everybody that she saw as her child. So she did not at all just leave that as a theological point that everyone is my child. She literally saw the world as her child and acted as a mother. And I just think that is one of the most powerful teachings because that is what all of us would be if we knew ourselves. If we accepted ourselves as the divine presence and didn't buy into our narratives of being ordinary or being small or being impure or being this, that, or the other. If we could renounce those narratives, which is all we can ever renounce, we don't actually renounce anything but thoughts. We think they're objects, we think they're important things, but they're just thoughts. And so we get caught up in all of that in the story, and we forget. And so seeing the mother is a great reminder. There's a beautiful little 4-line song that we stopped on apparently last week. Of course, I don't remember this song at all. That's why I was wondering if this was really where we stopped. But listen to this beautiful line here. Can one be joyless if mother is blissful? The divine mother keeps her child in bliss in this world and the next. So there's another promise for you. The divine mother keeps her child in bliss. And so if you know the mother, you know bliss because you'll know her compassion, you know her limitless love for you, you'll know the limitless mercy for you. um, there isn't a greater symbol of love in its purest form than motherhood. I think because in motherhood, the baby and the mother are one for for that full time that the baby is being nurtured and developed into a body. The mother and the child are one for that 9 months, and then the baby is born from that body and then is nurtured by that body for the first few years of its life. And so I think that God as mother, the reason that the beloved does that is because there's not a better way to show us how the divine thinks of us, that we were one with the beloved before we took a body, before we took a birth, and that we've been nurtured and cared for our whole life through stand-ins, the stand-ins of our parents, the stand-ins of our friends, all representing God, the beloved, nurturing us and taking us forward, teaching us. And even in those times where we don't consider him nurturing us or teaching us, he's still still nurturing us and still teaching us just lessons that are hard for body mind. And so To know this and to be in the presence of the mother is to be blissful. And that if it's not blissful for us, then we haven't laid down everything yet. We haven't, we're still wrestling, because mother is a very beautiful ideal, very divine, very pure ideal. And to know that bliss that comes from her, you have to surrender to that, that purity inside, that letting go of our connection or attachments to the things that we want, the things that we think that we want. All right, so let's start here. Well, here she goes on. I'll read the last two lines, since I said there were 4 lines. The blissful mother Tara ever fills the mind with bliss. Again, 3 sentences in a row about mother giving us bliss. Mother, I pray, may my mind be attached to your blessed feet. You see, that is all that needs to happen for realization. You have to be attached to mother's blessed feet. You have to be attached to purity. You have to be attached to self-control. You have to be attached to freedom. You have to be attached to silence. You have to be attached to inner peace. You see, because the things that we're attached to are the things that get nourished within us. And, if we were attached to enlightenment, we would be enlightened, because that part of us is already present within us. We have different words for it, and we've placed our fence through the middle of it. But that oneness of our realization exists within us already. But we're attached to the things that cause us separateness, the notion of separateness. We're attached to the body, attached to the mind. We're not attached to our inner peace. We're not attached to that silent sacredness that exists within us all the time, right? We're attached to the things that oppose it. And so here, this prayer is beautiful. I pray, O Mother, that my mind may be attached to your blessed feet, to being in your presence, to seeing you everywhere, to worshiping you. So manifestations as a Devi, as the goddess. Some of Holy Mother's disciples and devotees saw her in different forms of the Divine Mother, including Bagala, Kali, Jagadatri, Sita, Radha, and so on. So she took these forms out of compassion or out of necessity, never to demonstrate her power. The contrast between Ramakrishna's and Holy Mother's manifestation of divinity is that the master could not suppress his samadhi or control how he revealed himself in various divine forms, whereas the mother had full control. In this connection, Swami Premananda wrote in a letter, the master was endowed with the power of knowledge, and we witnessed many times his ecstasy and samadhi. But what of the mother? She held these powers suppressed within herself. What superhuman power she had, right? And Thakur said this about the Holy Mother also, that she, how she demonstrated her power by containing all of the spiritual power that he shared with her from his practice, and that he gave her through his training, and then through her own identity, from her own knowing that she was a direct manifestation of this divine feminine. And really, I'm not surprised at that either, because I think that as growing up, in this world, we've got men and women, and just in a consistent way in my life, it's not the same for everybody. But I know that the patience of a mother, good Lord, there's almost nothing that can't absorb, Yeah, most definitely the patience and the forbearance, the grace of a mother. I just look in my own family, what my mother has put up with from her 3 boys. And it's awe-inspiring. It's amazing at that. And so that the mother has this superpower of control, that she controlled her manifestations, she controlled her ecstasies and her samadhis. That is not a small thing. Thakur says that, if a person has lots of emotion and lots of bhakti, manifested bhakti, he said that's like an elephant jumping in a small pond. That person can't contain their emotions. They can't control the effect of the presence. But for someone who's a deep pond, a deep and wide pond, when the elephant jumps in, there's no disturbance at all. The water absorbs that. And so we have that with the Divine Mother, that she is Shakti itself. So she is all of the power that could ever want to manifest. And since she is that Divine Mother, since she is the power of God, then by nature, she is that superpower. By nature, she does have a greater power in that manifestation, as Thakur himself said. In this section, we shall reproduce a few eyewitness accounts of Holy Mother's divinity. Manoranjan Chaudhary of Noakhali, now in Bangladesh, was very devoted to Mother Kali. He read the first part of Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in Bengali by M, and then came to Calcutta. He first visited Dakshineshwar and Belur Math, and then met M, who suggested that he go to Jairambati to meet the Holy Mother. Manoranjan took the trains for Vishnupur and then went to Jairambati. He was overwhelmed with joy and asked for the Mother's grace. The next morning, the Mother was waiting for him after she finished her worship. Manoranjan reminisced, "As soon as I arrived, the Mother asked, 'Do you want initiation?' I replied, 'Mother, I know nothing about it. Do as you wish.' Pointing to the Punyapukur, the Mother said, 'Go, have a bath in that pond and then come back.' I hurriedly dipped in the pond and returned to the Mother. M had told me to bring a thin red-bordered cloth, 1 rupee, and a few hibiscus flowers, which I presented to the Mother. The Mother initiated me with a mantra and taught me how to repeat it on her own fingers. Pointing to the picture of the Master, she said, 'He is your Ishta, your chosen deity.' After initiation, I bowed down to the Mother. When I raised my head, I did not see her. Instead, I distinctly saw Mother Kali seated in the place of Holy Mother. Once again, I fell at her feet and then lost outer consciousness." Now, I don't know what the meaning of this is, but this is an interesting point that caught my mind reading this here, that she points to Thakur and says, "He is your chosen ideal." And then when he looks at Mother, he sees Kali. So there's some suggestion there that Thakur and Kali are also one. That Thakur and Kali are also one, which would make sense because Thakur and Swamiji and Mother always said that the three of them were not different. They were a singular manifestation of God, a singular manifestation in 3. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Swami Hari Premananda, a disciple of Holy Mother, recalled. Oh, I see. Let me see. I didn't finish that. So when I raised my head, I did not see her. Instead, I distinctly saw Mother Kali seated in the place of Holy Mother. Once again, I fell at her feet and then lost outer consciousness. So he went into samadhi at the sight of Mother as Kali. Now we can go to Swami Hari Premananda. Swami Hari Premananda, a disciple of Holy Mother, recalled, "Let me tell you of an incident concerning Holy Mother. I don't remember the date or year, and I don't feel they're important. Radhu, Holy Mother's niece, had been suffering from a chronic disease for a long time. As a result, her body was reduced to a skeleton. She did not have the strength even to speak. Whenever she tried to speak, only a croaking sound came from her throat. Holy Mother was very compassionate to her. She said to me, 'Hari, I shall take Radhu to Bankura. Please come with me. Vaikuntha, Holy Mother's disciple, lives in Bankura. He is an allopathic doctor, but practices homeopathy. He has a wonderful reputation.' I said, 'Do you mean Vaikuntha Maharaj, Swami Maheshwarananda?' 'Yes, you lived in Bankura town. You must know him.' 'Yes, Mother, I know him very well. He is the head of the Bankura Center. He is an excellent homeopath. Yes, you are right. I am talking about him. I accompanied Holy Mother and Radhu to Bankura. At that time, there were not many rooms at the Bankura Center. There was no accommodation for outsiders, especially women. So a two-room apartment was rented for Radhu's treatment. Radhu stayed in one room and Holy Mother and myself in the other. One evening, Dr. Maharaj, Swami Maheshwarananda, came and left after seeing Radhu. There was a small stool in our room. Mother was seated on it. On my own, I began to gently massage Mother's feet. They were wrinkled and dry. Moreover, her body was then lean and tall and thin. While massaging her feet, a question arose in my mind. Is Mother truly the mother of the universe? Could the Divine Mother have such wrinkled feet with visible veins? Although the question was in my mind, I did not express it. I just continued to massage her feet. And isn't that so human? Because I would think exactly the same thing. I even have those thoughts now when I sit and look at the picture of Thakur, and I'm like, God, really? that little man in the picture there, who was just a temple priest, uh, God. that's that's such a stretch. With Jesus it was a little easier because there was no photograph. He was sort of a myth in my mind as a child. It's like 2000 years ago this great soul lived. And of course I placed that in the world of dragons and knights on white horses, because there's just no way to attach to something 2000 years. And so I like this fact, this human fact, that yes, it's all right. It's okay to have these doubts as long as you don't use them as excuses to make room for vice, to make room for egoism. And that's the only problem with doubt. Doubt is natural. But if you refuse to resolve your doubt, if you nourish doubt in order to have the permission to live, to do what you want, as such, then it's not helpful to you. It's a danger to you. But if your doubt causes you to look for the answer, to search out the truth and to dig deeper, that's no problem. That's what doubt is really for, to drive it down. Vivekananda was the same way with Ramakrishna. He doubted him sometimes, wasn't sure of who he was, tested him in different ways, right? And only after a long, thorough testing and a very strong response by Ramakrishna, Vivekananda was willing to put his life at his feet and to serve him that way. So I continued to massage her feet. Gradually, a mysterious change occurred. I felt that her feet were no longer the emaciated feet of an old woman. They were well-developed feet of a young woman. There was a lantern nearby, and in the light, I clearly saw two beautiful feet outlined with a stripe of red paint, toes fully developed and close to one another, and exquisite half-crescent toenails. There were also golden anklets adorned with gems and jewels. I wondered whose feet these were that I was massaging. Astonished and dumbfounded, I slowly shifted my gaze from Mother's feet to her face. I saw the form of goddess Jagadatri with a golden complexion, 3 eyes, 4 arms, adorned with many ornaments. She wore a crown on her head and held weapons in her hands. A magnificent luster emanated from her body. Before I saw that form completely, I lost outer consciousness, saying, "Mother, Mother." I don't know how long I stayed in that condition. When I regained consciousness, I found Holy Mother caressing my back with her hand and saying, "Oh, Hari, what has happened to you? Get up, get up." I got up and saw again the old emaciated mother looking at her sick niece. This is our mother of the universe, Mother Sarada, the spiritual consort of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Victory to the mother. Victory to the mother, to the master. Swami Arupananda narrated the following incident, which took place in Jairambati. Arupananda: Mother, shall I pass my whole life in this way? constructing houses, marketing, keeping accounts. What shall I gain from doing such work? The mother calmly replied, well, my son, what else do you want to do? In this age, Swamiji has inculcated these works as the means of God realization. If you perform this work without any motive as you worship, you will attain liberation. What else do you want to do? Do you want to practice austerities in the solitude of the Himalayas? There you will find the monks fighting amongst themselves over a piece of bread or a blanket. Will the Lord appear before you if you go to the mountains and forests and sit there with your eyes closed? Is there any better path than the path of action that has been delineated by Swamiji? While working, think that you are working only for God. Think that you are serving him. The work that you are doing here is truly my work. Rash Bihari, look at me. Rash Bihari looked at Mother's face and saw a luminous goddess seated in front of him in place of the plain and elderly woman who had been talking to him. Her entire form was radiant with an effulgent light. Rash Bihari could not keep looking at that luminous form, struck with awe, struck with fear. He closed his eyes. Immediately he heard the familiar voice of the mother. "O Rash Bihari, what happened to you? Why have you closed your eyes? Look at me." Rash Bihari opened his eyes and saw Holy Mother sitting in front of him as before, that same familiar look with the usual sweet smile on her face. Toward the end of his life, Arupananda related another experience to a monk in Varanasi. I was in Jairambati. The mother's new house was then under construction. Brahmachari Hemendra and I were looking after the construction work. The mother was living in one of the cottages of Uncle Prasanna, her brother. Sometimes her brothers argued with us, complaining, "You're giving everything to our sister and depriving us." Thus, one day a quarrel ensued, and I was irritated. Perturbed, I went straight to the mother. She was standing on the veranda of Uncle Prasanna's house, facing the courtyard and holding onto a post with her left hand. Agitated, I said to her, "Mother, there is so much quarreling. There is so much bickering, disturbance. I can't work here anymore." Saying this, I sat on the veranda of a thatched hut opposite her cottage. The mother remained standing there calmly and said, "If you can't work here, that's fine. Here things go on in this way." I saw her look vacantly toward me. Immediately, I saw that her standing form became illumined. A halo appeared around her entire body for a while. The mother did not say anything else. This vision calmed my agitation instantly. A complete change took place in my mind, and I thought, to whom did I say that I won't do your work? I left and began to work again with great enthusiasm and respect. I saw this clearly, with my eyes open, in broad daylight. What do you think of that? I mean, it's one thing to go for one deity. That would be enough to appear as Kali and Jagadatri, and and, and here just a shining, luminous form. And always coming back to Holy Mother. There's an interest in that too. Why was she so private about that form, but not about her Holy Mother form? But that Holy Mother form, so simple, aged, no threat, nothing to fear, no display of power, no display of outrageous beauty or anything that would intimidate. She appeared as humility appears, old, compassionate, quiet, mild-mannered, meek, you know, modest. But behind that was the power of the entire universe. So you see the nature of God. He's more concerned with your love, feeling safe in your love, you feeling safe and respected in the relationship with him, that he's going to hide all of that stuff that would terrify you or intimidate you or frighten you. You know, he'll take the form of humility, like a Jesus or a Buddha or Ramakrishna or Holy Mother, to touch you. And only when any of those other aspects would be helpful to you would he let you see them. You know? Hmm. Vaikuntha, later Swami Maheshwarananda, of Bankura, was an allopathic doctor, but later began to practice homeopathy because it was less expensive for poor people who could not afford to buy allopathic medicines. He was a reputable and successful doctor, and Holy Mother had tremendous faith in him. He used to put the first dose of medicine on the patient's tongue and then give the patient the rest of the doses in small packets to take later. Once the mother was suffering from dysentery in Jagadamba Ashrama, Kualpara. Vaikuntha came from Bankura to treat her. He opened his homeopathic medicine box and came forward to put a drop of medicine on the mother's tongue. But just as he was about to administer the medicine, he became confused and dumbfounded. He kept on looking at the mother's face. The mother said, "Vaikuntha, give me the medicine." Vaikuntha was startled, and his hand began to shake. Instead of dropping the medicine on her tongue, he put the medicine vial back in the box and prostrated at her feet. The mother asked, "What happened, Vaikuntha? Will you not give me the medicine?" Still shivering, Vaikuntha said, "Yes, mother, I will give you the medicine. But what have I seen, mother?" Without answering the question, she changed the topic and said, "My son, I'm suffering from dysentery. Please, quickly give me some medicine." Vaikuntha put some of the medicine into the mother's hand and asked her to swallow it. Later, Vaikuntha said that he had seen the face of the goddess Jagadatri in the mother's face. So he did not dare to put medicine directly in her mouth. Afterwards, he always gave the medicine to mother in tiny paper packets. Chandra Mohan Datta wrote in his reminiscences, "Holy Mother graciously revealed her true nature to me. She made me understand that she was a goddess of heaven, born as a human being to deliver us. I sometimes complained or accompanied the mother to Jairambati. Once the mother was returning to Calcutta and we were traveling by bullock cart via Kualpara. On the way to Vishnupur, the bullock cart stopped and the mother took a little rest under a roadside tree. Suddenly, a desire came to my mind to see the true form of the mother. Seeing her alone under the tree, I beseeched her, Mother, Mother, you love me like your own son. It is through your benevolence alone that I maintain myself and my family. You protect us from all danger and adversity, and still I have an unfulfilled desire. If you fulfill that, I will have nothing left to wish for." The mother wanted to know about that desire and said, so I said, "My last desire is to see your true form." The mother did not agree to this. Observing my repeated earnest entreaties, she reluctantly agreed and said to her companions, "You go away for a little. I shall have a private talk with him." She said to me, "Look, you alone will see it, and no one else. Don't be afraid of seeing my true form, and do not divulge to others what you will see as long as I'm alive." Saying so, the mother assumed her true form in front of me. It was the form of Divine Mother Jagadatri. I was petrified with fear by seeing that divine luminous form. An ethereal glow emanated from her body, illuminating the whole area. My eyes were dazzled by the brilliance of that glow. I further saw Jaya and Vijaya, two companions of Jagadatri, flanking the mother. My whole body began to tremble and did not stop. I couldn't stand steadily. I fell at her feet. The mother then withdrew the form of Jagadatri and resumed her human form. She stroked me with her hand, and slowly my shivering stopped. When I regained my normal state, she said again, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen as long as I'm alive." I asked the mother, who are your Jaya and Vijaya? Golop and Yogan, she replied. You see, this is why the world's a play to the mother, because she does come in a costume. She comes in a costume and she plays a very simple role. And, just like any actress or actor, she's not willing to show you who she is while she's on stage. If I do it, we'll do it backstage. Don't tell anybody, it'll ruin the play. It also kind of gives me the chills a little bit, because we look at it and see such a simple thing. We talk about the master's life like, well, just like it's history. We talk about all of this happening as if they're just events and things that went on. We don't know who was really playing there. We don't think that way. We don't know that way. Inside we know in that weird way, through that knowing, that there's something special about what we're looking at. We can feel it. That's why we're here as devotees. But we have no understanding at all of the powers that were at play and are at play at this moment. It's such a fascinating, it's a fascinating arrangement. Basana Nandi was born near Kamarpur, probably in 1899. She was married when she was 7 years old, but her husband died shortly thereafter. When she was 13, Holy Mother hired her to do some household work, such as cleaning the dishes and clothes, sweeping and mopping the floor, and so on. In the evenings, she also massaged the mother's feet to relieve her rheumatism, Vasana recalled. One day in Jairambati, I wanted to go to a neighboring village to attend to a puja festival, but the mother would not allow me to go alone. That night, when I was massaging her feet with oil, she told me, "The thing which you are eager to see, you will see here." While massaging her feet, I fell asleep. Suddenly, my sleep broke. I saw a bright light all around. I'd never seen such an effulgent light. I saw the living goddess Jagadatri. In the very midst of that light, it was beautiful. It was the benign form of Divine Mother, but I did not see the mother. Frightened, I cried, "Maha, mother," and ran out of the room. But I did not see the mother outside either. I returned to the room and found the mother sleeping on her bed. There was no more blazing light. Instead, a dim kerosene lantern was lit in a corner. I called out to the mother, and she asked, "What have you seen?" I told her what I saw. Smiling, she said, "What you have seen is true. I am Jagadatri. I am Durga. I am Lakshmi. I am Saraswati. And I am Kali." Yeah. Exactly. Lal Mohan Das. What time are we looking at here? Lal Mohan Das, known as Lalu, was a fisherman who lived in Satbere village, close to Jairambati. When he had time off from fishing, he learned Baal songs from Baral Master, who was a worshipper of Kali. Lalu bought a Baal costume, anklets, an ektara, which is a stringed instrument, and a small tabor, a drum. With permission from Holy Mother, he sang Baul songs during the Jagadatri Puja in Jairambati. Lalu used to call Holy Mother Aunt. His wife and 4 sons were also devoted to her. The mother always had many visitors, and Lalu used to supply fish and vegetables for them. During one of the festivals, the Swamis of Jairambati asked Lalu to catch fish from Punyapukur, which belonged to the mother. Lalu went with his party and dropped a long net in the water. The mother and her nieces came from the Eastern Ghat to watch. Lalu reminisced. Although I was busy in the water pulling the net, my eyes from time to time were on Aunt. We're looking at Holy Mother. I saw her walking on the east side of the pond along with 2 women. So it's a footnote saying these 2 women were Jaya and Vijaya, the 2 companions of the Divine Mother. I saw her walking with 2 women wearing the same bordered saris and similar veils. I did not see their faces, but it seemed that their faces were similar to Aunt's. I was startled. I was about to go to Aunt, depending on how you say it. I was about to go to Aunt, but suddenly a big fish escaped by jumping over the net. Again, I concentrated on setting the net. We caught some small fish, but could not get a big one for Aunt. Later one day, when she was alone, I asked her, Aunt, the other day, when you came to see our fishing with your nieces, I saw 2 women with you who seemed to be of your age and of a similar appearance and had similar clothing. Without assigning any importance to my question, she said, who else was with me? Leaving Radhu and Maku, I went to the Beltala to get some spinach. I said, no, Aunt. When you were going to the Beltala, I saw 2 women. One was in front of you, and the other was behind you. Smiling, Aunt said, Lalu, you have too much bile in your stomach. You should drink some rock candy syrup. Saying so, Aunt entered her room. Again, I saw 2 women, one in front of her and the other one behind her. I cried out, Aunt! She was answered from the room, Lalu, wait for some prasad. She returned and gave me some sweetened puffed rice and fruit. Aunt never revealed her divinity, but I will never forget those 2 scenes. From then on, I had no doubt that Aunt was not a human being. She was indeed truly a goddess. I love the playfulness in that one. What did you see? And then she's going in the other room. Who was with there? I was walking alone. No, I clearly saw Ma. And then she goes in the room and there they are again. She's just playing, in that wonderful way. That's the thing I love about all of this, and truly feel in my life, this investment of ours, our spiritual practice and life. At first, it was so much, anyway, it's beautiful that we can play and that we can play with God. When we get through the years where it's the big, scary whatnot, the unknown beyond, as soon as we get past the begging for salvation and the fear of dying and the promise of an eternal life, and make it good, make it a heaven. When we get past all of that and we really learn to inhabit the moment, when we learn to just put all of that away, there is no future, there's just now. And when we calm our mind and come into the now, that's when Mother plays. That's when she flirts and when she jokes and when she tricks and when she reveals, when she comforts, when she fills your mind with bliss, and she holds you and gives you peace. This is really where it is. It's not about a future, about an event after death or an event of some unknown day in a future about karma. It has nothing to do with those things. It's about being at home in the moment. It's about being able to accept this moment as perfect and really see it and experience it as divinely perfect. To see the joy in it, to see the wonder of existence in it, to see the freedom that's contained in it, the promises, the safety, the beauty, the peace, This is what our spiritual life is, not karmas and works and undoings and purifications and cleanings and all of that. All of that's just putting on our makeup in the costume room for coming out to the moment, the stage where everything happens, and to spend that moment on stage in the bright light of Mother's presence and laugh, enjoy, learn, and find freedom in surrender, find peace in surrender, find purpose in surrender. So I think we'll stop there for the day.